great to have you back, Mandy. You
Thank
know,
you.
our conversations in the past, you talk a lot about psychology and kind of paradigms that people have that they bring
Mhm.
into their trading. What topic were you interested in addressing today?
So today I thought, and that's based on a few emails that I got throughout the last weeks from my traders. Um, the, you know, traders, when it comes to mindset, to psychology, I see more and more that they focus on things that are completely irrelevant to trading success. And it's a tweet that I put out this morning as well. And my tweet was actually sparked by a trader emailing me, very, very upset that he was trading with someone, with a trading buddy. He saw a setup. He entered his setup. His trading buddy said, "Oh, but there is weakness," and this trader was wrong. And then yes, she is German. I am German indeed. Um, so he saw this setup, traded the setup. The guy said, "Oh, there's weakness in the background." And then my trader started to doubt himself. He became uncertain, closed the trade out at a little loss. And then, of course, it went, it skyrocketed into his target and he missed out on a nice profit. And he was very upset about it. And I said to him, this is like being upset about the wind blowing off a sheet of paper from the table. I mean, this is just how human psychology works, what we humans are wired to. If you're a fairly new trader, of course you're uncertain. And the trick is not to not be swayed in your trading system, in your analysis, because it's incredibly hard. The trick is to protect your mind from being influenced in the first place. So if you trade with someone, tell them to not comment on your trade. If it goes
Yeah,
wrong, it goes wrong. Who cares?
yeah. So, people are always looking for a scapegoat.
Yes.
I was influenced. I read this
Yeah.
tweet. When really, I say this to people, Mandy, we're all captains of our own ship.
Yeah.
So if you're the captain, you might have a first mate, you might have a crew, but you know what? It's always your responsibility. So do you tell them to take responsibility for being influenced?
Well, they
Or are you
do.
too, or that's too much tough love?
No, I do tell him, and the thing is, they know that. He's like, I know it's my responsibility, but they don't feel it. So it's this incredible upset about it and being so down on himself. And I said to him, if it were your son, would you talk to him the way you talk to yourself right now? Like, I'm such an idiot. Why do I keep getting influenced? So, this judgmental self-talk, which doesn't help at all. Because that is not solution focused and results oriented. It's just, I feel really bad and I need to get rid of this poison in my mind, in my body.
How
So
about magnifying one trade being too important? And how about maybe he went to the doctor a month ago and the doctor gave him a clean bill of health? You can't buy that with a winning trade.
yeah,
So what
exactly.
about perspective?
I love perspective, exactly. Um, so there is this book I just started reading. It's it's really cute. It's something like stories of a rickshaw driver, like those
Oh, yeah,
an Indian taxi driver.
yeah.
And it's a book from, I think it's a German Indian who studied medicine here or psychology here in Germany. And it's a collection of stories. And it's kind of personal development put into little stories, into little metaphors, so that they're being easily understood. And one of the stories is that he's having his little rickshaw, and he gets a girl comes into the taxi, and he
Yeah.
says, "Where do you want to go?" And then he takes her to where she wants to go, and he sees that she keeps staring in the mirror. And she has a pimple in her face. And he also notices that she's got the most beautiful face, the most beautiful eyes, flawless skin, just this one pimple, a beautiful mouth, like just so pretty.
Uh-huh.
But she keeps staring on that pimple. And then he says to her, you don't see how pretty your face is because all you do is you stare at that pimple. And this is what traders do, they don't see how they are, and that's what you talk about, perspective, how they are really great in so many areas. All they look at is how they're sucked in that moment. Now, the point is also...
Did he take her out for dinner?
It didn't say in the book. I don't think he did. That would be a beautiful ending, right?
Yeah, and they fell in love and they pulled the rickshaw together. Or if it's an American couple, she still sat in the rickshaw and he pulled it.
Oh, I love that.
All right, go ahead.
Oh, the thing
Not
was,
all American couples are like that.
I just want to say, I want to find myself an American man now, who with my rickshaw.
All right.
So, but the point is, I said to him, you saw this entry, you saw the setup, you saw the trade was a great trade. But then it comes also to realistic expectations. Let me just answer this question from Patson. What's the name of the book? So it's a German book. It's Der Rikscha-Fahrer, der das Glück verschenkt. In English, it would mean the rickshaw driver who gives happiness as presents.
Oh God!
It's very pretty. And the title, the author is, oh my God, Bion Kattilathu. So Kattilathu. And so what the point was with my trader was also the unrealistic expectation of what his mind and body is capable of. We are human, and any research you look at shows how easily we are influenced. It's like, everywhere there's been so much research, and then there is this unconscious influence thing. If you look at the book Thinking Fast and Slow from Daniel Kahneman, who writes all about how we are being unconsciously influenced in our buying decisions. You look at Darren Brown, who did this little video, which I posted on Twitter, about how he influenced a marketing team in how they created the marketing. So the colors, the words that they used, he influenced them on the way to the office by driving past a group of schoolgirls who wore a certain color blue, and that certain color blue then appeared in their marketing piece. And so what we need to do, and this is what I learned from Linda.
Subliminal stuff, huh?
Yeah, exactly, subliminal stuff. And this is what I learned from Linda. I just laughed because my pimple was trying to short the decks, what Ingmar writes. Very funny. So this is what I learned from Linda. So Linda Rushke, right?
Yeah.
Linda is so aware of her shortcomings. She does not try to conquer them. She does not try to eliminate them. She does not try to be different. What she does is she tries to work with them. So she knows she has not much attention to detail. She's a big picture visionary. And that's how she can look at 10 different markets and sees how they influence each other, how they correlate with each other, and then can make 1-minute buying decisions based on all of that. It's just, her mind is incredible. And so she says, my mistake or my shortcoming, my weakness is executing my trades. I have made so many execution errors. That's just crazy. So she has an assistant, Kyle, who is an awesome guy who executes the trades for her. She also has she has a separate keyboard that has hotkeys so that she can't mistype numbers. She would maybe, instead of doing 100 lot, she would put 1,000 lot or something, right? Something silly. So now she has just one button that she needs to press in order to have that order executed.
Yeah, interesting.
And this is what I really got from her. It's like, don't fight your weaknesses. Be realistic about the possibilities of the human mind and how weak we are, how weak our human mind is. And work with it. Don't expect yourself not to be influenced. Expect yourself to be influenced, and then be sure that you protect your mind from that.
Interesting. How do you protect your mind from that?
So yeah, so number one, you become aware of your own shortcomings. So as you know, I'm a big fan of the DISC profile, where you look at what your natural preferences are and how you interact with the world. If you're a big picture, small picture, if you naturally are someone who looks forward or naturally someone who looks has a lot of regret. I want to tell a little story about it, which was really interesting. So I was trying to catch a train with my brother. My brother was running late. I was already at the train station. Not train, it was the tram in Munich, the S-Bahn. And so my brother, of course, he was running late, and he was already at the, you know, where the at the station. But and he waved to the tram driver, but the tram driver still drove off. And I was so angry because all he had to do was open the door and let my brother in. And I was so angry, and I said to my brother, I can't believe he did that. And my brother said, I've already forgotten it. Don't worry about it, right? It's just he was a prick. You know, that's all.
Yeah.
And so my brother, he's a high D, right? Super successful. And I believe that one part of, or one influence of him being so successful is that he never looks at regret. You know, he forgets the past immediately. He's just forward looking or in the present and just does what needs to be done. Whereas I was for a very long time and still am someone who has a lot of regrets. Right? And I keep looking at the back and the past.
Yeah.
And this is, for example, one awareness where, oh, okay, this is a habitual way of thinking that I have that I can transform. So when I was then there thinking this tram driver was an idiot and he was mean, that's not fair, to say, hey, you know, it's okay, don't worry about it. Just look forward.
Just doing his job.
Yeah.
Trying to be on time.
Exactly. We have no idea what was going on.
He didn't see your brother wave.
Well, he would have seen my brother. My brother was just right next to that. But that's not the point, right? As you say, maybe he was just doing his job. He had to go. Like, we don't know what was going on in this guy's mind. Maybe
we think we do.
Yeah. And we make it all
and
about ourselves.
And we never do. Yeah.
As you just said.
Okay.
Yeah, make it all about ourselves.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's an example how you protect your mind, where you're like, oh, you know, I just personalized this, and it's not about that. Who cares? Move on. It was one trade.
Next, you know, I have people, when I mentor them, I say the most important word for a trader is next. Win, lose, or draw. Next is kind of diminishes what just happened, and you stay focused on what's happening now. So kind of like athletes, they make a mistake on the field. If they dwell on the mistake, they make it again. If they just, like your brother, say, well, you know, it's a bad play, but this play is going to be great, and they don't dwell on it. I mean, how many quarterbacks come into the huddle and go, hey guys, I know I'm lousy today. That was a terrible interception, before he calls the next play. They don't do that.
And that's really what I believe also, what makes the difference between high-performing athletes and non-performing athletes, the ability to stay present, to not being in the past, regretting the past, to not being in the future, being afraid that they miss, but to just be present. And this is where I believe mindfulness and meditation is so useful as well, because that is what helps us being present, right? Or prayer is the same thing, right?
Okay, yeah. Okay, so yeah, I do plenty of that. I used to do TM. What form of meditation techniques do you use?
So I do a lot of mindfulness, so practicing being the present. And I just do simple sitting down and just focusing on my breath. So I would use a lot of breathing techniques.
Okay.
I just see that.
Do you do this while you're in a trade?
No.
Okay, no. So this is after you're out of the market, or you're away from your.
Exactly.
You don't intertwine looking for that calmness. You have to, just like you prepare trades, you prepare your mind before you go into the battle.
I believe that it takes, and I have no proof, that's just a personal belief, that it takes a different frequency of the brain to be focused when you're in the trade than when you meditate. I don't want to be in a meditative state when I'm trading. I want to be like fully switched on, right? I want to see everything.
Okay.
And
All right.
but that's just a personal belief, has no foundation, no proof. Okay. I'm a
Okay.
big fan of facts and figures. So I
All
also see
right.
a question here is how to keep emotions out of trading. It is very hard. Of course it's hard because you're human. So that's one of the things I was just saying before. This trader of mine who expected that he would not be influenced by his trading buddy. It's like, of course you are. It's like the wind is blowing the pieces of paper off the table. You can't keep emotions out of trading unless you are a psychopath. So I hope you're not a psychopath. And so it's about working with your emotions, and that is where mindfulness and meditation comes in, to be really focused, to be really aware of your emotions. And so I was working with another trader. He said he just can't find his rhythm. He goes long, this thing drops. He goes short, this thing goes up. And then, he was really something upset him in his personal life, and he just couldn't. Dale, have you ever felt like when you felt like disconnected from yourself, like there was this gap inside, this emptiness?
Yes.
So this is how he felt. And
Mm-hmm.
I believe when we have this disconnect within us, we can't make good decisions. That's
Right.
when we don't have a rhythm, when we keep chasing trades because we
Okay.
are out of whack. What are your
Okay.
thoughts on this?
Well, I want your thoughts because I tell people when they're in a health or emotional, mental crisis
Mm-hmm.
that they should not trade.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I would generally speaking say yes. However, I have just recently met a trader. He went through a separation and he started learning trading at the time, which was several years ago. And he traded so well that he was able to build a property portfolio from trading. It's massive, right? I've never seen that. I've never heard of that.
Hmm.
So now I have changed
During the separation, he was able to do that.
during the separation. But you know what the driving force for him was? He wanted to build a great future for his children.
Okay. All right.
So
So the motivation, not to show his spouse that how what she's going to be missing.
no,
That's a negative emotion,
yeah,
but to build a future for his children and a legacy, which is a positive thing that you're trying
yeah.
to accomplish. It's not revenge.
No, not at all. So what then
Okay.
happened, of course, was that that years later, now that the divorce seems to be going through, that she gets half of everything, and he's very bitter. And when he heard this, that's when his trading started to go out of whack.
Hmm.
Interesting, huh? Because now it's like that's not fair. Now
Yeah.
the pain starts, not when the separation was. That
Mm.
his wife gets half of the work that he has, or the property portfolio, the assets that he has accumulated for the children.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
crazy, huh?
Sounds like
But
California.
yeah, it's in America indeed.
Okay.
Yeah,
Community property state. You can't fight that. So,
yeah.
anything else you want to cover? I mean, I could talk to you for hours, Mandy. In fact, I'm laying down on the couch right now while I'm talking to you. So you can't charge me. I do an interview, and then I get to ask all the questions are really all about myself, and
Yeah.
I'm pretending is someone someone I know, and and I know thyself. I know thyself. So,
Yeah.
uh, anything else you want to cover that would be a pearl for people to take forward into this new trading season? Anything
Yeah.
about a change of a season. Again, here we are, summer is gone. Let's not regret that summer is gone. Let's look forward to what fall has to offer us.
Well, I have to say, Dale, I have spent 3 months in America and Europe enjoying the summer. I was 1 month in Chicago with Linda, 2 months here in Germany and Switzerland. And so now I'm going back to Australia in 2 weeks' time and have my summer there. So I'm not complaining.
You have like the endless summer.
Yes. The only thing I complained about is that the Aussie dollar kept dropping and my trip became more and more expensive. So that was not okay.
Yeah, you should have been hedged and bought a lot of cable. Well, I don't know, what could you have bought? Just dollars, I guess, to have hedged your vacation. But next year, maybe you'll be out in California, in San Diego. This is where we came up with the term, the endless summer. So, Mandi, it's always a pleasure,
thank you
talking to you and hearing what you have to say. And you're a very nurturing force in the FX trading community in what can do violence to a soul because of how we worship and magnify the importance of money.
Yes. One last thing, I'm just reading a really interesting book, again, a German who was a top manager, and the title is Guilty from Success and Failure. And this guy was, so successful. He was sharing the stage with, Bill Gates, and he was a friend of the former President Bush. And so he ended up in jail, lost everything, fame, fortune, family, and his health. He lost his health in jail through heart problems. And then he wrote this book about how did he end up there, what happened. And this may be one last thing that I want to give, for our FX community as well, where it was this intense need and this intense search for acknowledgement and approval and love that he was seeking from the external world, because he didn't have it inside of him. He felt so lonely. And the more successful he became, the lonelier he felt. And I see that in traders too. And so one of your boys, Petson, asked, how do one reconnect? You need to find a way to get approval and acknowledgement and pride of yourself from within yourself first. I say that in one sentence, which took me like 20 years. So I'm not saying it's easy, it's a journey, but every day a little bit.
That's beautiful. All right, so I know, I can see that in myself where I used to need it. I think that's also one of the reasons I used to, even though I loved to sing, I loved the attention that I got getting up there, and people would stop eating and actually pay attention to me singing Kentucky Rain or Purple Rain. And the last several years, I just haven't had the same desire to, go out and need for people to, have my ego fed that way. So I don't know what happened. It's nothing intentional I did. I just don't feel that same desire to get validation from strangers anymore.
I think my personal view is that when we have found peace within ourselves, then we don't need that external anymore.
Okay, beautiful.
And for me, it's more of an acknowledgement when someone says my trading changed because I got this one tip from you. Then if someone says you're amazing, like I really don't care. It's not important to me. But if you say my life changed, that
that I tell you, that's a rewarding part of mentoring people. And I want to wish you a lot of good fortune in finding a good American man.
Thank you so much.
He really, he'd be very lucky. And I'll give you a tip. I'm in a separation heading for divorce.
Oh, Dale, we have to meet.
Yeah, we have to at least have dinner sometime. How about that?
Yes,
All
and you have
right.
to sing, and you have to get a rickshaw.
You'll be yeah. We'll take the rickshaw to the Coyote Bar and Grill, and I'll do a little Elvis for you.
And life is good. That's all that counts, huh?
Life is
All the
good.
best for you in your separation, and may it all
Yes.
play out with peace and love and mutual respect. Hmm?
Beautiful. Yeah, that's
All
where I
right.
want to be. That's my goal.
Yeah.
And Mandy, thank you so much for
Thank
hanging
you.
out with us and another therapeutic interview. My
All the
trading
best.
warrior, my trading warrior sister. Okay, everyone, that's a wrap. So everyone, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'm just looking for end the meeting. Remember, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. Having Mandy with us today, in my opinion, was a blessing, and you should. Where can people follow you, Mandy? Do you have a website now?
I have tradingpsychology.com.au, or on Twitter is mpx_trader.
May this fall pips rain down on you like a monsoon in India.
Wonderful, wonderful.
All right, Mandy. Adios.
All right.
Take it
Adios,
easy.
muchacho. Bye.
Bye. See you guys. See you, Face. You're welcome.